Hello, my name is Sarah Inako. I'm a marriage family therapist and I practice in Austin, Texas. I have two office locations. One is in Central Austin and one is in North Austin. So for today, in today's video, I'm going to attempt to give a little mini introduction to what cognitive behavioral therapy is. So cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, which it's often referred to as, is basically doing a therapeutic examination of the relationship between our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. So what this practically means is that when we feel distress, because that's usually the thing we're the most aware of is when we feel bad, we want to cultivate a practice or an ability to slow down and take a real examination as to what is the story or what is the meaning that we're making out of whatever is happening. So that process is happening pretty unconsciously or automatically. Something happens, we feel mad, sad, so on and so forth. I joke that feelings are the Dr. Seuss, the mad, sad, glad. If it's one word, it's typically a feeling. If it's longer than a word, it's usually a thought. So I can try to give a practical example of this in action, because the premise here is that if we can slow down and take an examination of the thought, oftentimes the thought is somewhat distorted. Then we have an opportunity to sort of challenge it a little bit and come up with a different, more reasonable alternative, and then probably in response to that feel differently and behave differently. So let's see. What's my example? All right. I'll try to pick something simple. Okay, I'm supposed to go out to dinner with a friend, and then last minute I get a cancellation text that's, pretty vague. It just says, "I'm so sorry, I can't make it tonight." So I could have any number of different reactions or interpretations to that text message. I could think, oh wow, she doesn't care about me, and that would generate a certain emotion, probably something like anger. And then that would generate a certain action, anything that one could think of that anger might prompt somebody to do, send something passive-aggressive back, pretend everything's fine, but then harbor a grudge, whatever one did based on feeling angry. Or I could get that text message and interpret it as, oh my gosh, she must be mad at me. What did I do? And then I could agonize, trying to scrutinize and really think what I had done wrong. That would probably prompt different behavioral response. I would be very contrite. I'd feel guilty. I'd feel bad. I'd worry. And I might, do something then to try to make up for my perception that I had done something wrong. So which of these two things is true? I have no idea. I made up both of those stories inside my own head without gathering any more information or really challenging the validity of the thought. So one of the things that's often said in CBT is to check the evidence, to look for if there's anything that supports this type of belief that you've just formed. Do I have evidence to support that she doesn't care for me? Do I have actually evidence to support that that's not true, that in fact this person does care a lot about me? When you do that, you end up coming up with a more neutral or balanced interpretation of what has occurred. And also, you're in a state of mind now where you're not so reactive, that you can communicate differently, you can gather more information, you can talk about it, you can share your feelings of disappointment or whatever it might be differently, because you're not all negatively charged up. So CBT will really try to help people to integrate this way of thinking, of looking at their thoughts, challenging them, looking and being aware of what some common ones are for them, if there's certain pitfall thoughts that they often have, which are usually formed from experience. If I had an experience of feeling very neglected in my life, I might be more likely to think this person is neglecting me, abandoning me, doesn't care about me. I'm going to have more of a vulnerability to generating that thought in my present day interactions. And that's also something that, you can really unpack with a therapist to go into what are these distortions that you might have a particular vulnerability to developing or to seeing in your present day. So once you can do that, you actually have a whole lot more agency to control your feelings and to change how you respond to the world around you. Ends up really improving the quality of your life and the quality of your relationships, and benefits communication, and is highly evidence based and research to prove that it's effective. So that's my mini explanation of cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. And if you want more information, please feel free to check out my website, which is www.sarah, S-A-R-A, M-F-T, like marriage family therapist.com, or you can subscribe to this channel. Thank you.